Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another video. This video is the second video in a series as we work through the advanced client-side attacks module on TryHackMe. In the previous video, I gave an introduction to this module and we went through the cross-site scripting pathway or room, I think. Module is the bigger thing. It would be the cross-site scripting room. And today we're going to go through the CSRF room, or cross-site request forgery. Now, if you want to be a pen tester, I really encourage you to lean in, because I know, for example, where I work, we've been hiring pen testers, and one of the weakest areas people have is in web app pen testing. And I think the reason for that, at least for me, I was weak in web app pen testing when I got hired as a pen tester, and that's because almost all the labs at that time, I think it's getting a lot better now, but almost all the labs at that time, the extent of web app pen testing was like, okay, I have an upload form, I'm going to bypass the upload restriction, I'm going to get a PHP reverse shell, I'm going to get RCE, I'm going to get privilege escalation, I'm going to get root.txt. And that just isn't realistic. Like, web app pen testing is much more holistic. You're looking for all kinds of vulnerabilities. You need to have a strong web app game. Specifically, some of these client-side attacks are ones that people are weaker in. I think when you go through things like the OSCP, it's good at teaching you server-side attacks because it's easier to replicate in a lab environment, but it's a lot more difficult to replicate a client-side attack, which means someone has to interact with it, and as a result, there's a lot of misunderstanding around them, and people generally don't practice them. So I wanted to do a series where we work through all of these rooms together. And if you're new to the way I approach these rooms, I do not do them ahead of time. I do not prep. This is me going through it blind. This is me learning as I go through it as well, and would encourage you to do these rooms alongside of me. So whether you're watching this live on stream or after the fact on TryHackMe, get your TryHackMe account logged in and join me right here. So here we are on the advanced client-side attacks. The way you can get to these, if you go to learn over on TryHackMe, and we go over to modules right here, actually search rather, and then click modules for search and just start typing client, you will see advanced client-side attacks. And my goal is to have a video working through every single one of these rooms, ending with this challenge room or CTF where we put all of our skills together. So let's go ahead and dive into CSRF. And hey, one fun thing on CSRF, I actually have a CVE on CSRF. I can show that to you real quick for context. Rhino Security Labs, actually here it is. I think I'm at 9 CVEs, but my first eight CVEs was in this platform. And I'll actually show you this. I got a CVE from a CSRF that I found in this platform, and here it is. The user modifier request is vulnerable to cross-site request forgery, leading to privilege escalation. Right? To exploit this vulnerability, an attacker must host that on an attacker-controlled web server. When an authenticated administrator goes to the attacker's website, the CSRF will execute, making the attacker an administrator. So it's executing JavaScript, and I can even show you my payload right here. You can see a little bit about what it's doing. Now, even if you don't know Silver Peas, you can see this is a form. It's submitting data when the user goes to this. Localhost 8080 is just what I was hosting in my dev environment. But if you're targeting a real instance of Silver Peas, of course, you would update that, and you would put in your attacker ID, your attacker last name, you want to become an administrator, and your attacker SDKN token. All that attacker information is available to anyone who makes an account on a Silver Peas instance, so it's not like hidden information. And when the admin goes to this page, it will automatically make you an administrator in their Silver Peas instance. So once again, just want to say what we're going to look at today are real world attacks. I have a CVE based on one of these attacks, and you might find something as well if you lean in, and we'll learn this together. The other thing I do when I do a TryHackMe room or Hack the Box module is I read the entire thing in its entirety. I think many of us, myself included, oh, is it a machine like this? All right, so it's a split machine. Threw me off for a second, but many of us, myself included, we tend to rush through this material. We tend to think that the quickest we finish a TryHackMe room or a TryHackMe challenge, the better, but that's not true. You need to learn, and the best way to learn, guys, is to slow down, read everything in its entirety, follow through on rabbit holes, ask good questions, use ChatGPT, do everything you can to learn. The goal is not to finish the room as fast as you can. The goal is to learn something as you work your way through the room. So as our machine launches up, let's go ahead and dive in by reading this. Welcome to the world where launching web attacks is so easy that even beginners, like script kiddies, can write simple scripts to hack into big businesses or get CVEs. These attacks are like sneaky tricks that can cause much trouble online. Whoa, we have a raid from Overgrown Carrot, raiding with a party of 12. What is up, y'all? What is up, Overgrown Carrot? Good to have you guys hanging out with me. I am continuing a series that I started over on my YouTube channel, working through the advanced client-side attacks module on TryHackMe. The first video we did cross-site scripting. We're going through the CSRF one, but we are just starting right now. So you guys are joining at a good time. I'm going to dive back into this room. In this room, we will focus on one such web attack called cross-site request forgery. We will understand various exploitation techniques of CSRF and protective measures for its prevention. And I will just say, if you apply for a job as a pen tester, especially as a junior or associate pen tester, chances are you're going to be spending the bulk of your time doing web apps. When I got my job as a pen tester where I work now, I started as an associate or a junior and spent like 99% of my time doing web apps and APIs. Now, I'm a mid-level pen tester now and have gotten opportunities to do other assessment types. So I now do internals, externals, cloud stuff, mobile apps, like you name it, social engineering. I probably do it, but still the bulk of what I do is web apps and APIs, because for clients, it's an easy way for them to dip their toe into pen testing, and every organization has a public-facing web app that might have a wide attack surface. So the better you get at these things, the more doors that will open for you in the world of pen testing. All right, so what are our learning objectives? Overgrown Carrot, we did THM Kingdom. I did that one as well recently on stream. Yeah, I thought the root prevest was pretty fun with the Etsy. It was Etsy host, right? Like Etsy host was making a call out to a domain, and you could modify Etsy host, I think, and you put in the attacker IP. I'm going off memory, but that was fun. It was almost like DNS poisoning, kind of. Not quite, but that's what it reminded me of. All right, learning objectives. Understand the working of CSRF, the type of CSRF attacks, advanced payloads for exploitation, and defensive mechanisms. Can I make this full screen? Let's make this full screen. I don't like this like half screen crap. And let's make sure it loads. All right, we have it loading. Let me just drop it over here, just so I can tab back and forth between them easily. All right, there we go. Connecting to the machine. You can start the virtual machine by clicking start here. It will open a split screen view. Blah, blah, blah. We have it in a split screen view. The following host names have already been added to the attached VM. So we have an online banking application, mybank.thm, a mailbox application, mailbox.thm, and an attacker panel or a subdomain of the bank app at attacker.mybank.thm, port 8080, 8081, and 8080. All right. I can connect to the machine. Complete. Let me get a drink of water. And look over at chat as well. We'll answer some questions. Scroll through. 2AR said, I know you do pen testing, but do you have any insight how one could transition to red teaming? Yeah, like red teaming, at least in my view, is kind of the next level of pen testing. So where I work, we do red team engagements, and when we do those, I will help with those. But generally, I do pen testing. You are correct. The transition to red teaming, I would say you start with pen testing. You want to get a really strong grasp on pen testing in general, everything that goes into that before you move into red teaming. As well, I would look into malware development. So you have the MalDev Academy. I still need to get my yearly, or not yearly, I want to get a lifetime sub to that, but something like MalDev Academy that teaches you how to write malware and evade things, that would be a good place to start. As well, on Hack the Box, doing like some of the senior pathways, like the senior web pen tester pathway would be a great thing for red teaming. I'm sure they're going to come out the senior pen testing pathway soon. So those kinds of things would be really helpful. Malware Combat said, you're making me like pen testing more and more. Awesome. Nox Lumen said, found I could perform CSRF to update user passwords. Argued because password managers exist and could autofill the old password field and was vulnerable. No CSRF prevention. Yeah. All right. Let's keep on going through this. So what actually is CSRF? Was a type of security vulnerability when an attacker tricks a user's web browser into performing an unwanted action on a trusted site where the user is authenticated. So on my CVE I had, that was allowing me to elevate my privileges when the admin went to my malicious web page. This is achieved by exploiting the fact that the browser includes any relevant cookies automatically, allowing the attacker to forge and submit unauthorized requests on behalf of the user through the browser. The attacker's website may contain HTML forms or JavaScript code that is intended to send queries to the targeted web application. The cycle of CSRF. A CSRF attack has three essential phases. Number one, the attacker already knows the format of the web app's request to carry out a particular attack and send a malicious link to the user. And two, the victim's identity on the website is verified, typically by cookies transmitted automatically with each domain request, and clicks on the link shared by the attacker. This interaction could be a click, a mouse over, or any other action. So here we have this cool diagram. We have our attacker. That is us, right? Attackers don't wear red hoodies, we wear black hoodies. All right, try hack me, make sure you get your diagrams correct. But we have the attacker, we send our malicious link to our authenticated user, the user clicks on the fraudulent link, and the server is unaware if web request is falsified or if it is authentic, and we pwn them. And number three, insufficient security measures prevent the web app from distinguishing between authentic user requests and those that have been falsified. So what are the effects of CSRF? Understanding CSRF's impact is crucial for keeping online activity secure. Although they don't directly expose user data, they can still cause harm by changing passwords and email addresses or making financial transactions. One of the things to often check when you're doing a web app pen test, I'm not even sure if this will qualify for bug bounties, but on web apps, there's something I always check, and is if I can update passwords or emails without being required to re-authenticate to the application. If you require a user to re-authenticate to an application, well then it stops a attacker with either a stolen session or using cross-site scripting or using CSRF to update a password or an email, leading to account takeover. So good design of a web app is anytime a user updates their password or an email, you should require that user to re-authenticate with their password or MFA before that request goes through. All right, the risks associated with it include unauthorized access that can access and control users' actions, putting them at risk of losing money, blah, blah, blah. Exploiting trust, explicit trust websites putting their users, undermine the sense of security in online browsing. And finally, stealthy exploitation. It works quietly. Using standard browser behavior without needing advanced malware. Users might be unaware of the attack, making them susceptible to repeated exploitation. Understanding these risks is essential for implementing effective measures to protect web applications from CSRF vulns. Which of the following is a possible effective CSRF? Write the correct option only. Unauthorized access, yes. Exploiting trust, yes. Stealthy exploitation, yes. All of the above, whoops, yes. Does the attacker usually know the web application request and response while launching a CSRF attack? Yes, you kind of need to know that in order to launch the attack. All right, Searcrow said, hi, Hack Smarter. You are always resolving exercises the Try Hack Me. I think you're asking, do I only do Try Hack Me? No, I do Try Hack Me, but like my main platforms I showcase on stream are Try Hack Me, Hack the Box, Pwn Labs, and I've done some stuff with Cyber as well. So I do a pretty decent mix of like on-prem stuff, well, stuff like this, like a room where we do a tutorial. I also do standalone CTF rooms, and I also do cloud CTFs and cloud pen testing. I try to do a pretty good mix of all the things, hack all the things. But this is a series I'm doing, so I want to make sure I cover all of these kind of tutorial rooms in this full series of advanced client-side attacks. All right, types of CSRF attacks. We have a traditional. Conventional attacks frequently concentrate on state-changing actions carried out by submitting forms. The victim is tricked into submitting a form without realizing the associated data like cookies, URL parameters, etc. That's what my CVE is. The victim's web browser sends an HTTP request to a web application form where the victim has already been authenticated. These forms are made to transfer money, modify account information, or alter an email address. So you can see our victim user logs in. Our attacker creates crafted legitimate looking requests and sends the link by email. Hey, you have won $1,000, or you've been affected by the CrowdStrike outage. Here's your $10 Uber Eats gift card. The victim user opens the email in the same browser, and when they open it, they're tricked into clicking a link in the email, and we get to exploit them. The above diagram shows traditional. We kind of walk through this. the XML HTTP request CSRF. An asynchronous CSRF exploitation occurs when operations are initiated without a complete, let me zoom in for you guys, without a complete page request response cycle. This is typical of contemporary online apps that leverage asynchronous server communication via XML HTTP requests or the Fetch API and JavaScript to produce more dynamic user interfaces. These attacks use asynchronous calls instead of the more conventional form submissions. Still, they exploit the same trust relationship between the user and the online service. Consider an online email client, for instance, where users may change their email preferences without reloading the page. If this online application is CSRF vulnerable, a hacker might create a fake asynchronous HTTP request, usually a post request, and alter the victim's email preferences, forwarding all their correspondence to a malicious address. Geez, too much talking. A simplified overview of the steps. Number 1, the victim opens a session saved in their browser's cookie and logs in a mailbox.thm. Number 2, the attacker entices a victim to open a malicious web page with a script that can send queries to mailbox.thm. Number 3, to modify the user's email forwarding preferences, the malicious script on the attacker's web page makes an AJAX call to the update email. And 4, the mailbox.thm session cookie is included with the AJAX request in the victim's browser. And finally, after receiving the AJAX request, mailbox.thm evaluates it and modifies the victim setting if no CSRF defenses exist. Flash-based CSRF. The term flash-based CSRF describes the technique of conducting a CSRF attack by taking advantage of flaws in the great old Adobe Flash Player, where I used to play all those games as a kid on websites like Miniclip. Curious, to those of you in the live stream, who used to play Miniclip games? Who used to try to hack Miniclip games? Who used to try to bypass their school's web block so they could play games on Miniclip? That's the real question. Is that still around? Hold up. Oh my goodness. Wait, what's this stuff? Miniclip is still around. It looks a lot different than it used to, in the early 2000s, but it's still there. Learn how to use proxies in middle school, exactly. All right. Amazing. Anyways, internet applications with features like interactive content, video streaming, intricate animations have been made possible with Flash, but over time, security flaws in Flash, particularly those that can be used to launch CSRF attacks, have become a major source of worry. As HTML5 technology advanced and security flaws multiplied, official support for Adobe Flash Player ceased on December 31st, 2020. RIP. Go to the Wayback Machine. All right, guys, bet. Once I finish this page right here, we will go to the Wayback Machine. I got you. Even though Flash is no longer supported, to talk about Flash-based cross-site request forgery threats is instructive, particularly for legacy systems that storyline and took, oh my goodness, and antiquated, I can't freaking say that word, old technologies. A malicious Flash file posted on the attacker's website would typically send unauthorized requests to other websites to carry out Flash-based CSRF attacks. And you might think, no one uses this. They do. I promise you guys, they do. I've had to do pen tests where I had to install Internet Explorer just to access legacy apps. So if you don't think companies are using legacy apps and Adobe Flash Player, you would be surprised. All right, what is usually the extension of a malicious Flash file used in a CSRF attack? We can see that right there, .swf. Which type of CSRF exploitation is carried out when operations are initiated within a complete page request response cycle? In a complete page, would that be traditional, right? Do they want traditional or conventional? It's one of those. I just don't know what word they want. Let's try traditional first. All right, let's try conventional. What? Oh, without. I was thinking with a complete page. Without would be this one right here. Without. My eyes corrected it to with. This must be the answer. Bruh. Oh, asynchronous. Asynchronous. Guys, I will eventually get this, all right? I don't know if I can spell that word. Took me a second, but I eventually got it. All right, we're going to pause on task 3 for those of you watching the video on YouTube after the fact. You know, you can just kind of fast forward this part if you want. Otherwise, you can go down the Wayback Machine with us. We are talking about Adobe Flash Player, so we can justify this as part of this Try Hack Me series is showing how prevalent Flash Player used to be. There we go. I justified it. All right, I'm thinking like the 2008, 2009 is... It's that time frame. Let's see what this looks like. Yup. This is how I remember it. Can you actually play the games in the Wayback Machine somehow? Man. Yeah, I think YouTube was running on Flash too. At some point in time, you're right. I want to play Motocross Urban Fever. Come on. Oh, if game doesn't load, click here to download the latest plugin. This is exactly how I remember it, guys. Sitting in school. We got Bush Shootout. I remember playing Bush Shootout. Oh man. So amazing. This was the golden age of the internet. It really was. We can share by email. We can share by IM. We can post to my blog or website. We can add to my games. So guys, what I used to do in school is you could easily add these games to your own website. So when the school, of course, tried to ban gaming websites, I got my computer rights taken away the first time. So I lost my computer rights 3 times in high school. The third time I was told if you touch a computer again, we're going to charge you with criminal charges. But the first time I lost my computer rights is I would just create domains, like I'd pay for them, and I'd create domains, and I would put the Flash games on my own domain, and then when the school banned my domain, I would just create another one, and each time I had a new domain, I would use like the school's printer, and I would print out the unblocked website, like whatever website was actually working unblocked, on stripped like pieces of paper, and I'd cut them all out, so I'd have all these pieces of paper, and I'd just hand them out all over the school, so then everybody was using my website and bypassing the school's blocker, and then when the school would block it, I would do the same thing. I would just figure out another domain, a way to bypass their blocker, print it out on paper, cut them all out, hand them out around the school, and really pissed off the IT the IT team at the school. But amazing. All right, back to our task at hand. I'm guessing we're gonna almost get to the hands-on stuff pretty soon. Let's dive into this. Overview. A covert technique known as hidden link or image exploitation in CSRF involves an attacker inserting a 0x0 pixel image or a link into a web page that is nearly undetectable to the user. Typically, the source or href element of the image is set to a destination URL intended to act on the user's behalf without the user's awareness. It takes benefit of the fact that the user's browser transfers credentials like cookies automatically. So you can see our website right here. Here's our href right here. Click here, user visits the attacker's website while authenticated. And it's, of course, transferring funds, it looks like. This technique preys on authenticated sessions and utilizes a social engineering approach when a user may inadvertently perform operations on a different website while still logged in. So how it works. Now, you are already connected to the VM. Let's see how the attack works. The attached VM represents Josh's machine, who uses Chrome to check his mailbox and log into his bank account. Since he is a financial broker by profession, he deals with many financial transactions daily and keeps his accounts logged into his browser. Let's go ahead and check. Why did this get small? All right, let me see if I can get this VM. Now, this might be a little bit buggy because, like, guys, I'm doing a VM inside of a VM. Like, I'm in a VM right now, and there's a VM on the web inside of my VM. So we're doing some crazy VM stuff. We have mybank.thm. Is that right here? All right. Oh, there's his password. Right there. We'll just exit that out. So here is mybank.thm. We have some money there. It's overdue. Freaking pay your bills, scrub. And we have our mailbox right there. The attacker somehow learns that Josh uses mybank.thm 8080 for transactions, and his account is always logged in, all right? So that's this guy right here. The attacker also had an account in the same bank, so he tried to log in and check for any vulns that he could use to get additional cash in his account. You can also log into Firefox in the attached VM or any other browser using the username that and the password that to understand the attacker's perspective and check the source code and how the client-side script works. Well, we can do that, so let's go ahead and open up Firefox. If it will open, we'll go to here. While scanning, he found that no additional parameter is being sent from the bank app while transferring payment. Here's the code that handles the transfer of funds. So we have our label to account, and it accepts text, account, and the amount. So if we can get the user to submit to our account, we can steal their money. Here, the attacker can employ the hidden image technique by simply crafting an email and luring the victim to click on a link. The attacker only knows Josh's email address, so he launches a social engineering attack by sending the following email to him. What up, Joshy boy? Send me some money. All right. Let's see if this will work. Is banned cookie not found in request? What's that mean? Can I log in? Maybe I need to back out to right there. Am I supposed to be... Do I need to add that cookie in my request? Let's see. I should be able to do it like this. More tools. Web developer tools. And we'll go over to network. Or maybe not network. Is it application? Storage. There we go. Do I need to add a cookie here? Let's try it. You guys see how lead of a hacker I am? I tell you what, I just impress myself all the time. What was our username and password? All right, here's our username. Okay, well, is it really not going to allow me to copy and paste? Do I have to use the buggy try hack me thing to copy? Let me try it one more time. Okay, I guess I do. So on try hack me, there's this buggy thing. If you want to paste here, I can sometimes do that, and I think that will then count as the clipboard. Yeah. Usually it just works when I copy and paste, but I guess not this way. But we'll make it work. Oh. There we go. Log in. All right, well, now that we bypass the is banned and we set it to false, we should be good. What's going on here? My wife just texted me saying, "Do you have OnlyFans going on down there? Send me some money." Yes, I do. This is my OnlyFans account. When I pop a shell, we take off an article of clothing. Not really. Don't demonetize me, YouTube. I don't actually do that. All right, quick transfer. Enter the details of the account to which you want to transfer. So we can say, like, I don't know, Tyler, and he definitely wants 1337. We could open up Burp Suite and look at this, but one other thing we can do is we can just look at the requests on Web Developer Tools and see what it looks like on the network side of things. So I'll look at network. We'll hit transfer right here. And we can see we do a GET request right here. And it's just doing to account Tyler and the amount 1337. Actually, it's not even a post request. We didn't have to look at the response. So the only thing we need our user to do is to do this get request to account Tyler and amount 1337 or whatever. Oh, how did I get a successful attack? So I think the is banned cookie was supposed to stop me from logging in, but since I manually just set the is banned to false, I bypassed TryHackMe's way of doing this. But we'll do it the right way as well. I don't know if it'll give me this flag twice though, so I'll copy the flag. But anyways, you can see that's all we have to do is that. Let me go ahead and jump back over to this. We'll just drop this flag in there real quick. Okay. That's how good I am. I did the challenge without even realize I was doing the challenge. All right, the most important thing is the image source attribute set to the bank transfer page link. The attacker can hide it or put a valid image with an anchor tag directing to the bank transfer page. So you can see what we're doing there. We saw the request ourselves in the network tab. We're just doing to account and whatever amount we want to steal. To understand the victim's perspective, navigate to Josh's mailbox. Oh, do I need to send him an email? To see a new email, how do I send him an email? From support? I don't actually have the email for support. Am I just supposed to send Josh an email from himself as like a POC, as a test maybe? Let's find out. What are we logged into? Chrome? Man, this VM is slow. But once again, I think it's because I'm a VM inside of a VM. So mailbox. Oh, who's this Mark guy sending us all these lucky winners? Hey, we hope this finds you well. As a valued customer of my bank, we want to express. All right, let's go ahead and redeem this. Oh, so that's what it was showing me. It was just showing me the attack they're talking about. But you can see all that's doing is sending a GET request to that amount. Like, very simple way of doing that. And one trick I've seen on both bug bounties and in the real world is often these kind of requests require a post request, not a GET request. But if you, like in Burp Suite, do right-click, change request method, sometimes even though it takes a post request, it will accept a GET request if you do it manually. So then you can bypass CSRF protection by changing to a GET request, and there you go. You just got a CSRF because there's no protection on a GET request like that. One thing to check in the real world. Guys, I'm getting freaking hot. I'm gonna take off. See, here's my OnlyFans. We got an exploit, take off article of clothing. All right. Let's keep going. To understand, we did that. Once you, in reality, the victim, click on the link, he'll be directed to a bank page and the funds will be transferred automatically. Got it. What was the missing link? All the validations are correct and accurate. However, the server is not validating if the request comes from a legitimate user. Well, we know of our cookie. Securing the breach. From a pen tester, red teamer perspective, it is vital to pen test each request and response parameter of the form. From a secure coder perspective, it is important to ensure that each request submitted to the web server carries a unique token so the server can identify if it's clicked on through a valid source, a CSRF token. The bank IT team quickly identified the issue and added a CSRF token with each request submitted to the server. The following code contains the updated client-side code. We can see that there is an additional hidden parameter, CSRF token, which will be sent to the server with each request. But even if you do that, let me show you once again my CVE. So the way I found this in the real world, there actually was a CSRF token with this. But the problem with Silverpeas is, come on, I did not click that. They were not validating the token. All they were looking for was, does the token exist? And if it does, they would allow the request to succeed. So they called it an STKN token, but that was the function of it. They said, if, like programming, my pseudo programming language, if STKN does not equal null, so in other words, if it exists, then allow the request to succeed. They weren't actually validating if the STKN token belong to the correct user. So I was able to actually use the attacker's STKN token to bypass their CSRF protection. So even if you implement it, you have to make sure it's being validated on the client side and the server side in particular. Can we change the article of clothing for a rap song? Yeah, absolutely. On the server side, the server will verify if each incoming request contains a unique token. Otherwise, it will reject the request. Open Josh's mailbox and navigate to the attacker's email with a green badge. All right, let's go ahead and do that. Freaking Mark. Why is Mark sending us all this crap? Click here to redeem. All right, bet. Invalid CSRF token found. All right, so that time we did not have a valid CSRF token, but we did get a flag apparently. When the user clicks on the link, it won't transfer the funds as the request is missing a unique CSRF token required to validate the request. What is the flag value once the CSRF token is detected? It is that. Does the hidden image exploitation require the image tag source attribute to be linked toward a legitimate image file? Nay. Drink of water. All right, we're working our way through it. Task 5. All right, double submit cookie bypass. We've observed that without CSRF tokens, the bank web application was susceptible to vulnerabilities, exposing it to potential exploitation. However, the introduction of CSRF tokens significantly enhances security measures. A CSRF token is a unique, unpredictable value associated with the user session, ensuring each request comes from a legitimate source. One effective implementation is the double submit cookies technique, where a cookie value corresponds to a value in a hidden form field. When the server receives a request, it checks if the cookie value matches the form field value, providing an additional layer of verification. How does it work? Well, we have token generation. When a user logs in or initiates a session, the server generates a unique CSRF token. The token is sent to the user's browser both as a cookie, a CSRF token cookie, and embedded in hidden form fields of web forms where actions are performed, like money transfers, user action. Suppose a user wants to transfer money. They fill out the transfer form on the website, which includes the hidden CSRF token, form submission. Upon submitting the form, 2 versions of the CSRF token are sent to the server, one in the cookie and the other as part of form data. Server validation. The server then checks if the CSRF token in the cookie matches the one sent in the form data. If they match, the request is considered legitimate and processed. If not, the request is rejected. So we have client side and server side. And our cool little diagram there. Possible vulnerable scenarios. Despite its effectiveness, it's crucial to acknowledge that hackers are persistent and have identified various methods to bypass double submit cookies. Or just like me, you just try it and it works. Session cookie hijacking, man-in-the-middle attack. If the CSRF token is not appropriately isolated and safeguarded from the session, an attacker may also be able to access it by other means, such as malware, network spying, etc. Subverting the same origin policy. An attacker-controlled subdomain. An attacker can set up a situation where the browser's same origin policy is broken. Browser vulnerabilities, or deceiving the user into sending a request to an attacker-controlled subdomain with permission to set cookies for his parent domain could be used, which is why subdomain takeover is such a big deal if you find it in a bug bounty or in a pen test. Exploiting cross-site scripting vulns. An attacker may be able to obtain the CSRF token from the cookie or the page itself if the web app is susceptible to cross-site scripting. We did a whole module on that in the last video, and I also have multiple CVEs on that. By creating fraudulent requests with the double submitted cookie CSRF token, the attacker can get around the defense once they have the CSRF token. Predicting or interfering with token generation. An attacker may be able to guess or modify the CSRF token if the tokens are not generated securely and are predictable, or if they can tamper with the token generation process. There's actually something built in a burp suite called, Sequencer? I think that's what it is. Sequencer, where you can send a bunch of tokens to Sequencer to see if you're able to predict it. I'll show this to you guys real quick. I've used this to see if I can get sessions. So Burp Suite Sequencer enables you to analyze the quality of randomness in a sample of tokens. You can use Sequencer to test any tokens that are detected to be unpredictable, such as session, anti-CSF, and password reset tokens. So if you have Burp Suite, that's one thing to try on CSRF tokens that will automate that process for you to see if the CSRF might be predictable. And finally, subdomain cookie injection. Injecting cookies into a user's browser from a related subdomain is another potentially sophisticated technique that might be used. This could fool the service CSRF protection system by appearing authentic to the main domain. In this task, we will use one of the above techniques to bypass a variant of the double submit cookie technique. How it works. Now, we will see how the attack works. Connecting to a previous example, this technique will chain two vulnerable scenarios by reversing token generation and injecting a cookie through an attacker-controlled subdomain. Let's go. So here we are. The attacker, that is us, has successfully transferred the amount from Josh's bank account but seems more greedy and wants to take complete control of the bank account. To exploit the account, the attacker must access the bank account, but how? This requires the password of the Josh account. Well, exploiting a vulnerability like CSRF requires a lot of code and functionality, understanding the website logic from the developer's point of view. The attacker logged into his bank account and noticed that the form for updating passwords is protected through a CSRF token. Right there. Oh. But does it ultimately resolve the problem? An attacker can only bypass the security measure if he finds a way to reverse engineer the token. He opens the Chrome built-in inspect element console like a real hacker would to verify the cookies created locally by the website. So you can see the CSRF token, the PHP session ID. I'll show you this when we get to the practical part. The attacker identified two relevant cookies created in the browser. Typically, the PHP session ID is randomly generated by the PHP engine itself, and it's not very easy to reverse it for session hijacking. Consequently, the attacker copied this token and noticed if he could reverse engineer it. He used CyberChef to see if he could decode the string, and surprisingly, notice that the CSRF token was a string he could decrypt. Ooh, it's just his username. He noticed that the string decoded from the token was his bank account number, meaning the web application developer needed to implement CSRF tokens better to avoid exploitation. We know that the attacker already has access to the subdomain of mybank.thm, which can help him inject the cookies, and has already reverse engineered the cookie. Now it's time to prepare a payload. And before we prepare the payload, let's see if this is real world. Let's go to HackerOne. CSRF predictable. I'm not sure how to search for that. I mean, there's probably a bunch of HackerOne CSRFs. That's a pretty common vuln. We can check this one out. This is on HackerOne. We found a CSRF token bypass on the HackerOne login page, so this report describes HackerOne login CSRF token bypass. So HackerOne uses the authenticity token during login to prevent CSRF. However, the authenticity token is not properly verified, so an attacker can log in via CSRF without the authenticity token. In other words, HackerOne thinks it's implemented CSRF through that, but it has not. So go to sign in. While logging your account, grab packets through the buff suite. Do they mean burp suite? Take the HTML code format from burp suite. Engagement tools generate CSRF RFC. Delete the authenticity token. Forward the request and CSRF exploit successfully and the modified data changed successfully. The victim may add sensitive payment information to the attacker's new account. The victim's IP may be recorded in the attacker's account. If I didn't find much more than you found, but I knew this could be a wide range of other issues, blah, blah. We came with the following fix, which was at least a few minutes ago. A copy can be found here. So they give the fix, just verifying it, I'm sure. And then they're working on addressing it. And they're verifying that it's fixed, and I'm sure they got a bounty through it as well. Very cool. So there we go. CSRF on HackerOne itself. Amazing. And if you guys want to dig deeper into that, you can pull it up and see how it all works. All right, preparing the payload. For the attack to work, the attacker would use a social engineering technique to make the victim click on a link. The attacker would prepare an enticing email about CrowdStrike $10 gift cards to compel the user to change his password. They prepare an email setting a CrowdStrike GitHub gift cards and attempt to Josh email and send it to Josh. Here's your CrowdStrike GitHub gift card, $10. Click here to redeem it. The email contained a link to attacker-controlled domain attacker.mybank.thm with a password update form similar to a bank one. The form also has a CSRF token already set as a hidden parameter. So we have a post request. So we're now doing a post request. Before it was a get request. Oh, we're changing password. Gotcha. And this is why it's so important. If you're updating a user's password, you always require them to re-authenticate with their current password. It would prevent this attack from happening, even with the broken CSRF. And that's the importance when cybersecurity, we talk about defense in depth. It's not one fix. We should always have multiple layers of defense to prevent an attack like this happening. One would be proper CSRF verification, but even if that failed, if you required Josh to re-authenticate with his current password to change his password, this would stop the attacker in their tracks. So we are, of course, submitting our password. We have our CSRF token, which is just the decrypted token, right, of their user, and we're updating the password. In the above code, the attacker will update the payload and add the base 64 value of Josh's bank account as a new CSRF token value. Navigate to Josh's mailbox to see the new email with the crafted CSRF payload. So, suspicious login attempt required. Oh yeah, what did the lily pad say? I'm tempted to try this with my bank. No, don't try this with your bank. Very bad idea. Only do this kind of thing if you have written permission, like on a pen test or a bug bounty program. You don't want to be randomly testing your bank's CSRF mitigation. That's a bad idea. You don't want to commit a crime. Don't tell them Tyler told you to do it either. Let's see. In the above, okay, we already talked about that. We're going to see the new email with the crafted CSRF payload. But what if it's bounty hunting? I mean, honestly, if your bank has a vulnerability disclosure program or a bug bounty hunting program, and that is in scope, then yeah, go ahead and test it. But only if that's in scope. All right, man, this is slow. All right, inbox. Which one am I supposed to click? There's too many of them. Suspicious login attempt detected. All right, bet. All right, dear Josh, hope this email finds you well. I'm ready to bring your attention. We have security issues, bro. You need to click this link to verify your account, right? And you can see if you look at the bottom, I can't really point at it, but the bottom left corner, we have the request going to attacker.mybank.thm, right? That's the attacker's subdomain takeover they did. Change password of _attacker.php. That's the code we just looked at. So we can go to this link. And you're like, oh no, the attacker changed my password. What is going on? All right, password update successfully. What do we change it to? There it is. All right. Once you click the link or redirect the attacker-controlled subdomain and auto-submit the form to change the password. The attacker contains a code similar to that of the change password page of mybank.thm. You know, the other thing I noticed, I bet if we had our own account, the mailbox itself has an IDOR vulnerability. I bet if there's another user on here, you could read other users' emails with this ID if you change the ID, but I digress. However, he's also setting a cookie with the following codes that will be forwarded to the main domain, mybank.thm, while triggering a CSRF attack. Oh, you want to offer promotion of my channel. You know, I don't really need promotion of my channel, dude. Appreciate you attempting to. I accidentally granted him moderator privileges and then took him away. Guys, I'm such a noob at Twitch. When I clicked him, I thought mod him meant like do a moderator action, and I gave him mod permissions. Guys, I'm such a noob at Twitch. I'm telling you. That is hilarious. Thanks GoPro Slow Yo for saving the day there. Almost had my Twitch account taken over by a spam bot because I don't know what the frick I'm doing while I'm streaming. Amazing. All right. back to our attack at hand after I almost got pwned on stream. The attacker knows the hidden form parameter, and the form will submit all the data, including the cracking myself. All right, so Furnos says, so what you're saying is if I want a mod, I just have to post bad links. Here, Furnos, look at this, Furnos. Watch this, dude. There, Furnos has social engineered himself to become a mod. Welcome, Furnosec, to the mod team. Now you can ban the next person so I don't actually give them mod permissions. All right. The attacker knows the hidden form parameter, and the form will submit all the data, including the hidden fields, to the original change password page of that. Following is the server-side code. Let's see what is happening on the server. So, if our base 64 decoded CSRF token in the post request equals the same thing in the cookie, then retrieve the form data. As we see in the above code, the server will decode the CSRF token and compare it with the cookie value. The server hosting mybank.thm8080 will consider the request legitimate as it comes from a logged in user, and the CSRF token is also valid and will update the password, which is exactly what we saw. Note for ease, the server request headers are displayed on the web page to understand and receive cookies and form data, which I think we saw right there. We have a little error in our code, but it worked. What was the missing link? The server-side script correctly validated the user. However, the CSRF token was easy to predict, and therefore the attacker could launch a crafted CSRF attack. Securing the breach. From a pentester red teamer perspective, it is essential to validate the complete flow of HTTP request and response, double-check the request parameters for any possible vulnerability, like easy-to-guess tokens and invalid input, and scrutinize the client-side JavaScript code for potential issues. From a secure coder perspective, ensuring that the token generation methods generate extremely unique and hard-to-guess tokens is essential. Oh, what? We got Tinus Green over in chat on YouTube. What is up, dude? It's been a while since I think you joined for a live stream, because it's like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. for you right now. But yeah, Tinus, I'm doing a series on TryHackMe, going through the entire advanced client-side attacks module. And the reason I'm doing that is since we've been hiring pen testers, the biggest weak areas in pen testers was web app skills. Like, a lot of people know network stuff because they do like, hey, I'm going to do a TryHackMe or Hack the Box room that consists of a file upload, I bypass, I get a PHP shell, and then get RCE on the server, and then get root. But that's not web app pen testing. That's just like a very basic file upload attack. So I was very grateful that TryHackMe came out this full module on advanced client-side attacks. So I'm doing a series going through all of these modules, and we'll finish it with the challenge machine at the end. But this is just the second video. All right, back to it. From a secure coder perspective, ensuring that the token generation methods generate extremely unique and hard-to-guess tokens is essential, because once again, on Burp, you could use something like Burp Sequencer to see if these tokens are random or not. Let's jump back to this. The bank IT team quickly identified the issue and updated the token generation algorithm to remain unique and hard to predict. And open Josh's mailbox, navigate to the attacker's email with the green badge titled Urgent Action Required, Suspicious Login Attempt Detected. All right, we'll see it being fixed now. So I'll go over to our read mail, go to our inbox, and here is the one that is secure. All right, let's click this link. Let's click this link. Let's click this link. Okay, we opened it a bunch of times. Invalid CSRF token. And actually, guys, if you try to do an attack like this on TryHackMe's website, which you won't get in trouble because TryHackMe is technically in scope on their vulnerability disclosure program, but when I was doing like bug hunting on TryHackMe's actual website, if you try to submit a CSRF attack, it actually detects it and says like, hey, someone's trying to submit a CSRF attack, you know, don't let this request go through. So like TryHackMe's website implements this securely. And if you want to see what it looks like when you get detected, you can go ahead and try to submit like a post request to change your password, remove your CSRF token, and you can see TryHackMe's protection themselves on their main platform on how this works. All right, using the same payload will not work because the server is correctly implemented, secured, and unpredictable CSRF token that won't allow requests from an unknown source. All right. Man, my VM is being like slow. There, we got that. What is the updated password for Josh's account? Oh, did I save that? I know it's on one of these. There it is. The decoded value of the CSRF token is just his account, right? Oh yeah, T-Ness Green said, what is network but just a bunch of applications talking to each other? AppSec for the win. Absolutely. And like, I've heard people say, Tim Kling, I don't know what you're doing, bro, with the spam. Here, 1 second. I've heard people say like, yeah, I like pen testing, but I don't like. 1 second, let me do this. There we go. I like pen testing, but I don't like web app pen testing. Or I'm a red teamer, but I don't do web app pen testing. That's not true. Like, if you're going to be a good red teamer, or even a good internal network pen tester, you're going to come across web apps all the time. Like when I do an internal network pen test, I'm always coming across web apps. I'll run Go Witness across the environment, and often those web apps are your way into the network. You might be able to do some poisoning on them. You might be able to get RCE on them, but having good web app pen testing skills will take you far, whether it's network pen testing, whether it's cloud pen testing. All of it utilizes these AppSec skills that we're talking about as we work through this module. All right, what is the decoded value of the CSRF token for Josh's account? Well, it's whatever the frick his username is for his bank, right? Because it's just base 64 encoded. Is it that? Oh, is it the same as his password? Because it's just your username. I can't scroll. My VM's broken. There we go. Come on, VM. Stop doing that stuff. I don't think it's this. It's whatever Josh's is. Let's go figure out what Josh's is. Close. Never. It's right here. My goodness, man. This VM is not cooperating with me today. Not the try hack me one, but like my VM that I'm using. Being very buggy. Just slow. All right, what is the hidden field name that the MyBank IT team added to avoid CSRF attacks? I think they just called it like. Is it technically possible to hijack a session cookie in a web application? Yeah, especially if the HTTP secure and stuff and HTTP only aren't set up. All right, looking over at YouTube, Salty Siren said, hello, so excited to catch you live. I started watching your videos recently and have enjoyed them. Hey, well, thank you so much for the kind words, and I'm excited to have you here watching it live. Really good to have you here. The Mad Monk said, hey, Tyler, I recently graduated with a master's degree in cybersecurity. I'm trying to get into a SOC role, but there are no entry-level openings. Could you please advise? How do I break in? I've applied to about 500 openings, but nothing positive has come. Well, first, I would say, the Mad Monk, are you getting to the interview stage? If not, your resume probably needs to be tweaked to show off some of the hands-on projects you've been working on platforms like Try Hack Me or Hack the Box or Let's Defend. I'd also ask, do you have a GitHub? Do you have a blog? Do you have a YouTube channel? One of the best things you can do if you're trying to break into the field is start building your own platform, and that's actually what I did. I started my YouTube channel when I was just working in IT support, and like I had no idea what I was doing. I still don't really know what I'm doing, but even more so back then, had really no idea what I was doing. But I was like, look, I know how to stream, and so I'm just going to stream myself live as I learn and kind of build this YouTube platform. And through the process, I've met some really incredible people, including T-Ness over in chat. That's how I met T-Ness. Now he's, man, I consider him a huge mentor, a good friend of mine, and he's had a huge impact on my career in general. But I met him by just streaming some of the rooms he created on Try Hack Me, and he jumped into the chat, and we had a conversation that way. I've also met like John Hammond. I've had a couple of live streams with John Hammond on YouTube. I've met Heath Adams from TCM. I've met Matt Kiley as well from Huntress. Like all these people just through YouTube. So I'd also encourage you, if you don't already, start building some type of personal platform, and you'll be surprised how helpful that is to landing that career and just building some of those network. Finally, I guess one last thing, if you're not already part of the Hack Smarter community, let me just promote ourselves real quick. Hacksmarter.org will bring you to our website. If you click our Discord link, you can join us on Discord. But on Hack Smarter, we have a coaching, like a team of coaches who work in the industry, but what's different between us and all the other stupid influencers that are going to rip you off is we don't make any money from doing one-on-one coaching. Instead, it's donate what you can. So we ask you to donate to a nonprofit of your choice, whatever amount you can afford, even if it's like $1, if that's all you can afford, totally fine. And after you do that, we have all of our calendars there. You can schedule a one-on-one session with one of us who work actually in the field, and we'll do a one-on-one session with you. We can go over your resume, we can do a mock interview, and give you more personalized feedback. The Mad Monk, if you're not part of that, if you haven't done coaching, that's what I would recommend. Don't do coaching with the stupid influencers who try to charge you $500 to meet with them, or try to sell you on some stupid boot camp to guarantee a 6-figure salary. They suck. Do it with us. We actually know what we're talking about, and we're not out to get your money. All right, rant's over. Psyched over on Twitter said, yo, I love your YouTube videos. Glad to catch a stream. Hey, thank you for being here. Really do appreciate it. Inferno Sex said, plenty of printers leak LDAP creds, which provide a foothold into AD. Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes those are misconfigured and give you too much of a foothold into AD. All right, let's jump back to the room. Same site cookie bypass. Another drink of water because I'm doing a lot of talking. Overview. Let's dive into a crucial defense mechanism known as same-site cookies. These cookies come with a special attribute designed to control when they are sent along with cross-site requests. Implementing the same-site cookie property is a reliable safeguard against cross-origin data leaks, CSRF, and cross-site scripting attacks. Depending on the request context, it tells the browser when to transmit the cookie. Strict, lax, and none are the 3 potential values for the attribute. The most substantial level of protection is offered by setting it to strict, which you can tell by the name, which guarantees that the cookie is only sent if the request comes from the same origin as the cookie. Specific cross-site usage is permitted by lax, such as top-level navigations, which are less likely to raise red flags. None of them need the secure attribute, and all requests made by websites that belong to third parties will send cookies. So different types of same-site cookies. And once again, this seems like a lot of theory, what is going on here. But when you become a pen tester, if you're already a pen tester, you'll know that at the end of a pen test, we do what's called a debrief with a client. And when I do a debrief with a client, for example, if you hired me to be your pen tester, at the end of the assessment, I would jump onto a Zoom call with you and your security team, and I would share my screen and I would walk you through your report step by step, explain each vulnerability, how I exploited it, and some suggested ways of remediating it. And this would be one of the suggested ways of remediating it. And then I ask you, like, what is a same-site cookie? What are the different types that you're referring to? It's good to know this stuff so you can at least be conversational to suggest some ways to remediate to the client. So, different types. Lax. Lax same-site cookies are like a friendly neighbor. They provide a moderate level of protection by allowing cookies to be sent in top-level navigations and safe HTTP methods like GET, HEAD, and options. This means that cookies will not be sent with cross-origin post requests, helping to mitigate certain types of CSRF attacks. However, cookies are still included in GET requests initiated by external websites, which may pose a security risk if sensitive information is stored in cookies. We have strict. Strict same-site cookies act as vigilant guards. They offer the highest level of protection by restricting cookies to be sent only in a first-party context. This means that cookies are only sent with requests originating from the same site that set the cookie, effectively preventing cross-site request forgery attacks. By enforcing strict isolation between different origins, strict same-site cookies significantly enhance the security of web apps, especially in scenarios where sensitive user data is involved, and none are like carefree globetrotters. They are sent with both first-party and cross-site requests, making them convenient for scenarios where cookies need to be accessible across different origins. However, to prevent potential security risks associated with cross-site requests, none same-site cookies require the secure attribute if the request is made over HTTPS. This ensures that cookies are only transmitted over secure connections, reducing the likelihood of interceptions or tampering by malicious actors during transit. The lax exploit adventure. And yo, what up, Oreo Bite? Just saw you over in Twitch. Good to have you here, my friend. Now that the attacker can access Josh's bank account, his main objective is to log him out of his current account so that he cannot make any further bank transactions. He noticed a logout cookie that is set once he logs in, and the cookie is set as lax, which means that this will be sent in all top-level navigations and safe guys, I'm having trouble talking. Safe HTTP requests like GET. You can see that there. Here is a server-side code that validates a cookie and checks its value based on the value the code logs out the user. So we have our cookie name. We're saving it to an array with our cookie. If the cookie, so if logout equals that, it loops through each cookie and deletes it. For each cookie names as cookie name, if it's desired to kill a session, also deletes the session cookie, session destroy. The script requires a cookie value, right? But this entirely depends upon the type of same-site value. Since the type is lax, it won't be forwarded to cross-site requests other than top-level navigation and GET requests. To log Josh out of his bank account, the attacker can send another email to him, masquerading as a bank representative and persuading him to participate in a survey, or rather, persuading him to click the link so he can get a $10 Uber Eats gift card because he was affected by CrowdStrike. All right, let's get our Uber Eats gift card. All right, complete our survey for your $10 Uber Eats gift card. Hey, you've been logged out. Congratulations. Log out detected. You know, I've seen this before on logout. I never thought, like, how would logging someone out with CSRF be impactful? But I guess this makes sense. If you take over an account, you can then log them out so they lose their session. And actually something that a few like legit pen testing, I don't know if this will work once again in bug bounty. Pen testing is much more holistic. Some things that you check on session management is when you log out of a web app, it should clear the session, but so often you log out of a web app and the session remains active and you can still make requests with that session. That's like a informational or a low finding you report to a client because it's bad session management. Because if an attacker managed to gain a session, logging out doesn't stop the attacker. They still have access to the session. Same with like a password change. When a user changes their password, it should invalidate that old session and require a new session for all new requests, because by changing their password, they can kick an attacker out of their account. If you don't require a new session, well, even after you change your password, the attacker can use the old session to still replay requests as you. So just some things that you check on web app pen testing for good session management. Let's go ahead and grab this flag. All right, we open the mailbox. You will see that the logout CSRF payload is crafted using the following payload. All right, for our survey link. We'll go back to this. Let me just drop this flag in here before I lose it. There we go, THM logged out. Oh, is this the is banned? This is what I bypassed in the beginning, guys. I didn't even realize I was bypassing something. I just saw that I need the is banned cookie and I added it myself, and I bypassed the security in accident. All right, the attacker must make a simple GET request. Since the cookie is set as lax, will be forwarded to the page. As the request is coming from a verified source and the logout cookie is also set, Josh will be logged out of the bank website with no way to log in again as the password was changed in the previous task. What was the missing link? Well, the developer of MyBank LLC did not consider the same-site attribute for cookies while writing the code. The attack would have been avoided if the same-site attribute had been set to strict instead of lax. If the attribute had been set, the cookie wouldn't have passed during the cross-site request. Moreover, as a pen tester red teamer, it's essential to analyze each attribute of the cookie set by a domain. Most of the time, small mistakes by coders open up avenues of exploitation in an apparently secure web application. Once again, my CVE here is proof of that. They had a token, but they just didn't verify that the token was actually valid. So small mistakes by coders open up avenues for you to get a CVE. So even if you don't think it'll work, try it and it might just work. Lax with post scenario, chaining the exploit. As a pen tester, it's important to check the cookies being set by the website. As a cookie set in the last example was lax, it was possible to log out any user. But the above scenario is possible only with GET requests, and nothing can be done in case of POST requests. Initially, when the same site attribute was introduced to increase web security by restricting how cookies are sent in cross-site requests, Google Chrome and other browsers did not enforce a default behavior for cookies with a specified same-site attribute. This meant that developers had explicitly set same-site equals none to allow cookies to be sent in cross-site requests, such as in iframes or third-party content. However, Chrome changes default behavior to enhance security and privacy further and better protect against CSRF attacks. If a same-site attribute is not specified for a cookie, Chrome automatically treats it as same-site equals lax. This default setting allows cookies to be sent in a first-party context and with top-level navigation GET requests, but not in third-party or cross-site requests, thereby balancing usability with increased security measures. But what if we want to make a POST request? Can we do something? The answer is yeah, as per the official documentation by Chrome. Chrome will make an exception for cookies set without a same-site attribute less than 2 minutes ago. Such cookies will also be set with oh my, they made that word up. I've never seen that word in my life. Non-idempotent, e.g. post. This isn't a real word. Hold up. Chrome is making up words now. Oh my goodness, it is a real word. All right, whoever uses that word in regular speech, you need to go touch grass. Top-level cross-site requests, despite normal same-site lax cookies requiring top-level cross-site requests to have a safe get HTTP method. This is common in Ansible. Oh, crazy, dude. So any cookie that is not set with same-site attribute, and if the server reads or modifies a cookie, will be sent in cross-site requests till 2 minutes. Almost like a race attack right here. Just like same-site equals none. After 2 minutes, it will be treated as lax by the browser. We will see how we can exploit this in the following example. I did not know that. That's actually quite interesting. After reviewing the code, we can see that there is an isBanned cookie that is set after logging in, which we didn't review the code, we just discovered that ourselves. The value of the cookie determines if the user is banned or not, and displays him a message if he is banned. Our objective is to change the value of the cookie once the user clicks on the malicious link. Here's a server-side code that performs a validation. All right. If our cookie is banned, says banned cookie not found in request, then exit. If is banned status. So then we're just echoing it out. There's a post API call to index.php. Why is my page not scrolling? Oh my goodness. Come on, VM. That accepts a parameter is banned and sets the cookie's value. However, the server-side script expects the cookie is banned to avoid any CSRF attacks. If there's a cross-site request to the page, we cannot execute the script to create the cookie directly, as there won't be an isBanned cookie in our request. Got it. That makes sense. Let's try this. Log in again to the bank app using the username that and that password. All right. Okay. This is being just slow, guys. All right, let's log back in. I clicked that a while ago, but you know. We'll grab our username, and we'll have to use the silly copy pasting over here since my copy and paste isn't working. And then we can paste it in. And let's go ahead and grab our password, 67. Come on. I believe in you. Go like that, then log in. There we go. We are logged back in. And now, as we log in the script, I'll update the value is banned cookie. So we need to wait 2 minutes here. Otherwise, it'll be forwarded till 2 minutes window. After 2 minutes, open the mail titled test scenario /post. So we can't open it now, but we should be able to see that cookie if we go to our developer tools. In Chrome, I believe it's Control-Shift-I, but I don't think that'll work just because I'm doing this on here. Come on. Yeah, Control-Shift-I. And we should be able to see this cookie being set. Right? So here's our cookies. We have our logout value, our CSRF token, our PHP session, and our isBanned. And we can also see the values. Wow, this is being buggy. Right, so the isBanned has nothing set. The logout is lax. And what was this one again? The CSRF token is lax. So we can see the cookie information there as well. All right. It says I have to wait 2 minutes, so we'll just keep reading, and then we'll try to open the scenario. So after 2 minutes, open the mail titled test scenario lax plus post. The email consists of 2 learning buttons. The first will make a post request to index.php to update the isBanned cookie value. The first button uses the following code. So we have a function in JavaScript to launch the attack, set the timeout function, bank submit 1000. And so we're just changing it, the isBanned cookie. Click on the button and see what happens. You'll see the following error, isBanned not found in the request. And that's actually what I was seeing when I was initially trying to access, and we just set the cookie ourselves and guessed it. Wow, come on, freaking VM. This is because the is-banned cookie was not forwarded by the browser during the quest. So what is the solution here? We can exploit the Chrome feature that sends a cookie in each web request if modified in the last 2 minutes. As a pen tester, it is essential to understand each web request and response. The is-banned cookie value is updated in 2 instances, once during login and the other during logout. We can chain the process to make the user visit the logout link. Once he is logged out and the is-banned cookie is updated, we have a 2-minute window to call index.php to update the is-banned cookie value. Okay, got it. Here's a code that will take the user to the logout page and then make a call to index.php with the updated is-banned cookie value. Setting a win parameter to open the logout.php to go ahead and submit it, and then we are updating it here. Click on the successful attack button, which will first log out the user, then make a post request to index.php and update the is-banned cookie value. Chrome will forward the cookie in the request as updated in less than 2 minutes. That's quite cool. All right, let's see if we can do this. Read mail, inbox, and here's our test scenario, /post. So I'm just do this one first, right? All right, and it fails. And it succeeds. Same flag as before, right? Oh, wait, user banned. Oh, yeah. Oh, there it is. Took a second. User is banned. You could have just changed the flag yourself and I suppose got it as well, but user is banned. All right, and then we'll answer these questions. Let me just drop this flag in here. What is the logout cookie value? Isn't it just log out? Maybe it's not. Come on. Oh, it's not that one. Geez, which one does even has the cookie set? I think it was log out, right? I don't know which one had the cookie set. Does this one have it? I don't want to log back in again. It was like is logged out or something. Let's find out. I'm just going to scroll up and cheat because I don't want to do the janky. Yeah, log out. What was the question? What? Oh, the cookie value. Oh, frick. Sure enough, I do have to log back in. All right. Let's go ahead and just close out all these extra tabs. The slowness of my VM is driving me absolutely crazy. Do we still have something saved here? Come on. Oh, nope. The wrong freaking thing. All right. Where was the username and password at? I know it was up here. Here it is. Username. Why couldn't they made it something simple like Josh for his name and password for his password? So I don't have to copy and paste this. I'm not going to remember this. Almost there. Go up here. More tools. Developer tools. General said, "Hi Tyler, is this the client-side text module?" It is the client-side text module, my friend. All right, now I got it. Will it paste? Beautiful, it will. All right, once logged in to mybank.thm8080 application, change the logout cookie value to hello THM and try to click on the malicious link. What is the flag value after detecting a CSRF attack? All right, well, let's find out. So we need, well, I don't need a copy of that hello THM. That's easy enough to do. So we will change it here. Oh, logout value, right? Logout cookie value. All right, we changed it to hello.thm. Oh, I closed our mail. What was the mail server? There, mailbox.thm. And then try to click the malicious link. Attack detected. Oh, I couldn't. All right, well, I saw it. There we go. Few additional exploitation techniques. Then we're almost done with this room in this module. I don't know what is going on with my VM here, guys. I'm gonna have to figure out, like, well, these are all fast. It's just like this try hack me page right here and my VM don't like each other. All right, XML HTTP request exploitation. In the context of an AJAX request, CSRF is like someone making your web browser unknowingly send a request to a website where you're logged in. As if someone tricked your browser into doing something on a trusted site without your awareness, potentially causing unintended actions or changes in your account. CSRF attacks can still succeed even when AJAX requests are subjected to same origin policy, which typically forbids cross-origin requests. So here's our phishing email. We got our cross-site, request forgery, boom. Here's an example of how an attacker can update a password on mybank.thm and send an asynchronous request to update the email seamlessly. All right there. Our post request to mybank update password with our XHTTP request, our form URL encoded, and alert action executed. The XML HTTP request in the above code is designed to submit form data to the server and include custom headers. The complete process of sending requests will be seamless as the requests are performed in JavaScript using AJAX. Same origin policy, or SOP. Another rap song, right? And cross-origin resource sharing, CORS bypass. CORS and SOP bypass along CSRF is like an attacker using a trick to make your web browser send requests to a different website than the one you're on. Under inappropriate CORS policy, certain requests could only be submitted by recognized origins. However, misconfigurations in CORS policies can allow attackers to circumvent these limitations if they rely on origins that the attacker can control or if credentials are included in cross-origin requests. Let me add 1 hour to our machine. So here is a wildcard, and this is actually another thing that you would point out in a pen test is insecure core, right? It allows access control, allow origin, wildcard. There's a simple PHP server-side script that handles a post request. It has a vulnerable CORS configuration, allowing requests from any origin, and thus is vulnerable to CSRF since it doesn't implement any anti-CSRF measures. The usage of access control allow origin wildcard depends on the specific business use case and requirements. There are scenarios where allowing requests from different origins is necessary and legitimate, such as in public APIs or content distribution networks. However, it's crucial to carefully consider the security implications and ensure that access control allow credentials is set accordingly to forward credentials only to trusted origins. I see this on web apps pretty often where this is set and this is set, and you can actually like do a different origin. You can see it in the response that it would be vulnerable. It's important to note that access control allow origin and access control allow credentials true cannot be used together due to security restrictions imposed by the core specification. You'll learn various CORS bypass techniques in a separate room on THM. Referrer header bypass. When making an HTTP request, the referrer header contains the URL of the last page the user visited before making the current request. Some websites guard against CSRF by only allowing queries if the referrer header matches their domain. You never want to trust the client. The utility of this as a standalone CSRF protection solution is reduced when this header may be changed or eliminated, as happens with user-installed browser extensions, privacy tools, or meta tags that instruct the browser to omit the refer. Now that we have an understanding of various exploitation techniques, we will now discuss key mitigation measures to protect from the attack. Almost done. What is the general policy name that forbids cross-origin requests? Our same or cross-origin resource sharing, or same origin policy, I think. Same origin? Or is it cross origins what they're looking for? I don't know what they're looking for. Oh, it is same origin policy. Sweet. Strictly speaking, when updating an email address of Josh to the API endpoint, is access control allow origin of vulnerable header? What is a header called that stores the URL of the last page they refer? All right, defense mechanisms. If I could click. Oh my goodness. All right. CSRF plays a critical role for pen testers, allowing them to simulate attacks where users unwittingly execute unauthorized actions on trusted websites. By exploiting CSRF vulnerabilities, pen testers can assess the effectiveness of an application's defense against forged requests, identify potential security gaps in session management, and evaluate the robustness of implemented anti-CSRF tokens. Following are some of the critical measures that are recommended for pen testers and secure coders. So once again, during the debrief with the client, these are things you want to keep in mind as suggested remediations. And remember, defense in depth. It's not one magic bullet. It's as many things you can do to create these defenses. CSRF testing. Actively test apps or CSRF vulns by attempting to execute unauthorized actions through manipulated requests and assess the effectiveness of implemented protections, right? It's only as good as what you test. Boundary validation. Ensure the application's validation mechanisms, ensuring that user inputs are appropriately validated and anti-CSRF tokens are present and correctly verified to prevent request forgery. Security headers analysis. Assess the presence and effectiveness of security headers such as cores and refer to enhance the overall security and prevent various attack vectors including CSRF. Session management testing. Examine the application's session management mechanisms, ensuring that session tokens are securely generated, transmitted, and validated to prevent unauthorized access and actions, and CSRF exploitation scenarios. Explore various CSRF exploitation scenarios such as embedding malicious requests and image tags or exploiting trusted endpoints to identify potential weaknesses in the application's defense and improve security measures. Secure coders. Anti-CSRF tokens. Integrate anti-CSRF tokens into each form of request to ensure that only requests with valid and unpredictable tokens are accepted, thwarting CSRF attacks. Now, I have seen it before where websites only implement anti-CSRF tokens on post requests, but if you change that post request to a GET request, the request still goes through and it doesn't need the CSRF token. So you can bypass this if they don't enforce it on those GET requests and they allow GET requests. Same site cookie attribute. Actually, I think that's what this was. This was actually a post request, and I think, oh no, actually it still looks like post. There was another CSRF I found that was like that, where it was a post request, but I could still do it as a GET request. Actually, let me see if I can find it. I think it was in that same application. Let me look at my own blog and look at my CVEs. Yeah, maybe it was this one, CSRF leading a domain creation. I think this was originally a post request, and I can make it a GET request. Maybe not. Yeah. Anyways, y'all get the point. Same site cookie attribute. Set the same site attribute on cookies as strict or lax to control when cookies are sent with cross-site requests, minimizing the risk of CSRF by restricting cookie behavior. Referrer policy. Implement a strict referrer policy, limiting the information disclosed in the referrer header and ensuring that requests come from trusted sources, thereby preventing unauthorized cross-site requests. Content security policy. Utilize CSP to define and enforce a policy that specifies the trusted sources of content, mitigating the risk of injecting malicious scripts into web pages. Double submit cookie pattern. Remember, client-side and server-side. Implement a secure double submit cookie pattern where an anti-CSRF token is stored both in a cookie and as a request parameter. The server then compares both values to authenticate requests. And finally, implement CAPTCHAs. Secure developers can incorporate CAPTCHA challenges as an additional layer of defense against CSRF attacks, especially in user authentication, form submissions, and account creation process. The only thing I would add is require re-authentication on those form changing things. So like password updates, email updates, username updates should all require the user to re-authenticate with their current password. Is it a good practice to keep the anti-CSRF token predictable so secure coders can quickly implement them? Well, yeah, absolutely. Make it predictable. No. Conclusion. In this room, we have covered advanced techniques such as hidden image tokens, same-site attributes, double submit cookies, and refining the referrer policy used by hackers to exploit web application security. We've explored various CSRF vulnerabilities and understand how malicious actors can exploit them. Remember, securing systems is an ongoing effort, and regular pen testing helps identify and address vulnerabilities. Stay tuned for more exciting rooms as we strengthen our defenses against cyber threats. Let us know your thoughts on this room on our Discord channel or X comment account or in the comments of my video. See you around. I have successfully completed the room. That I have, ladies and gentlemen. You have completed the room. Share this with your friends. You are my only friends. I completed the room. Thank you everybody for hanging out with me. For those of you watching this on YouTube, this is the end of this video. Hope you're enjoying the series so far, and I will see you in the next one.